Thanks to Judicial Watch, we now have even more evidence in corruption and incompetence at the highest levels of our bureaucracy. Newly uncovered documents are showing that the conduit of the deep state himself, Bruce Orr, was actually given a whopping $28,000 bonus and a raise, compliments of you, the American people, during the very height of the Russia witch hunt. But that's not all. Yet another discovery from Judicial Watch is revealing how the Clinton email investigation was so botched that important investigatory notes are now totally missing, while others are damaged beyond repair. Nothing to see there, folks. Join us now with more is Judicial Watch President Tom Fitton and Fox News legal analyst Greg Jarrett. Greg, I'll go to you on this again. Speaking of these inequities, this magical information appears on Trump all the time about Kalibnik being a Russian intelligence guy, despite the fact that the State Department used him. We found out with the Trump Tower meeting with Veselnitskaya that this was so horrible for Don Trump Jr., yet Veselnitskaya was working with the company paid for by Hillary. And yet when it comes to information on the Clintons, it all seems to magically disappear into this black hole.
Unequal justice, selective prosecution became the hallmarks of the Obama administration and James Comey and Robert Mueller. I'll give you a couple of examples. Huma Abedin told the FBI, there was no hacking of Clinton's server. Documents show that was simply untrue. The Chinese had hacked her server, and she knew it. So that appears to have been a lie. Huma Abedin and Cheryl Mills also told the FBI, and again, this is under oath, we don't know anything about Hillary Clinton using a private, unauthorized server. Documents show they were talking about it, communicating about it. And yet, they were never prosecuted. Comey was asked about that. Why didn't you prosecute? He said, failing memories should be forgiven. So the lesson here is, if you're a friend of Hillary Clinton, you get a free pass. And if you so much as cough and sneeze in the vicinity of Donald Trump, the full force of the federal government will come after you with a vengeance.
Yeah, Mike Flynn and George Papadopoulos' failing memories weren't forgiven at all. They were thrown in jail.
That's right.
Ridiculous. Tom, I'll go to you. Judicial Watch has been doing just tremendous work lately, Tom, and your recent discovery here of this missing information with the FBI. I have a theory on this. Tell me if you think I'm right. This is the Inspector General of the intelligence community's notes with the FBI, correct? Some of them that are missing. Is it possible, I mean, you know better than I do, you guys were the ones who FOIA'd it. Is it possible that was some kind of a damage assessment done by the intelligence community about Hillary Clinton's email, if it was hacked and what was out there?
Well, the dates line up. The missing meeting notes are from a meeting that the intelligence community IG had with Peter Strzok and company, it looks like, about a month after the ICIG referred it to DOJ. So they had the intelligence community refer to the Justice Department, Hillary Clinton, for investigation over her missing emails, national security implications. They have a meeting about the issue a month later, and the notes are nowhere to be found. And it looks like it lines up with discussions the agencies had about whether the Chinese were able to gain access to virtually all of her emails. And the notes are gone. And it's as a result of a lawsuit that it's come out. It's not a voluntary disclosure. And, to me, it just shows you they didn't care. I mean, it was a sham investigation. They lost some notes. Who cares? Last week, they admitted to us that there were 302s, 4 witnesses. The interview statements were missing. So, if you don't care about the investigation, it's wired. You're not going to do the basics like keep notes of the meetings and be diligent in recording everything that happened.
One of the things, Greg, I saw in the Judicial Watch report on this was the potential that some of this Hillary Clinton information that was on the server may have appeared on the dark web, and some of it was obviously classified, with classified markings being stripped out. I mean, this is really staggering information. We're talking about the Secretary of State. She's not trafficking in low-level information. When I was an introductory Secret Service agent, we worked Treasury check cases. They were nice to work, but they weren't national security cases. This is the real deal. She was the Secretary of State.
Oh, absolutely. And she jeopardized national security. She didn't care. Obama didn't care. Obama went on national television, in fact, on Fox News with Chris Wallace, and said, she didn't jeopardize national security. She was just a little careless. And, of course, that was the clarion call to Comey and the Department of Justice to stomp their foot on the scales of justice and clear Hillary Clinton, even though They knew she had certainly committed crimes, more than 100 of them, representing 110 classified documents on her unauthorized server. Comey twisted the law, contorted the facts to absolve Hillary Clinton, making the announcement on the very day that his FBI is furtively meeting in London with the author of the phony dossier, and that was the beginning of the Russia hoax that begat the witch hunt.
You know, Tom, doubling down on what Greg had to say here, the beginning of this investigation obviously has become a scandal in and of itself because the FBI story doesn't seem to make any sense when you analyze it with clear eyes. They said it started with the George Papadopoulos tip to Downer at the end of July 31st. But the problem, Tom, is we have FBI agents over 2 weeks before, in the middle of July, before July 31st, in London, meeting with Christopher Steele and the dossier. Is the big scandal here the fact that the FBI has not been telling us the full story the entire time about the origins of this case? Is that what Bill Barr is going to give us?
Well, Mueller didn't tell us the full story about the origins of the case. They suggested it started much later than it actually did. The FBI hasn't, quote, told us anything. It's all been leaks and suppositions. Mueller was supposed to tell us the truth. And as you've seen, the Mueller dossier is being shown to be a sham. If I were the AG, Dan, I would issue a black box warning with the Mueller report, the equivalent of a black box. You can't trust it. We disavow it. It's there if you want to look at it. There may be some facts you're able to double check, but we can't vouch for it.
I love that.
And, and so we've got these documents coming out, for instance, that Bruce Orr's getting an unusual bonus, at least given his recent salary history, in the middle of the Russiagate investigation, just about at the time he's launched by the FBI and DOJ to be the back channel, as you pointed out, to Christopher Steele after the FBI fired him. So he gets this big bonus. Then it comes out that he was dealing with Christopher Steele on the down low because evidently Sessions and company didn't know about it, so they removed him. And you know what? They kicked him upstairs to this international group and gave him a raise.
Yeah. Greg, I've hypothesized from the start that Orr is the key to this whole case. He seems to be the information launderer, as I refer to. He wasn't money laundering. He was laundering information. He was making illegitimate information look real because it came in through his position, through his wife and him at the DOJ. Now he gets a raise for it. But one of the abnormalities in this case, I know you've been all over in your books, Simpson and Orr, their stories don't make sense. Simpson said he contacted them after the election in Thanksgiving, and contacted Orr at around Thanksgiving, but Orr's saying he made contact with Simpson in August. So obviously those stories can't marry up.
Yeah, and Nellie Orr has received a criminal referral because of that very fact. And you're right, Bruce Orr and Glenn Simpson's testimony don't match up. I think Glenn Simpson's in a world of legal trouble, which is why he eventually invoked the Fifth Amendment.
Well, isn't it convenient, too? He says, I just met Orr after the election in November. Yeah. When in reality is Orr met him. I mean, it changes the whole story, and it gives Simpson a motive to say that.
Yeah, I mean, look, there are so many bad characters in all of this, but Glenn Simpson, Christopher Steele, Bruce Orr, Nellie Orr, and the Orrs, by the way, are profiting by this. At the same time, they're peddling this phony dossier. And now we learn today, thanks to Tom Fitton and Judicial Watch, Orr's getting a $28,000 bonus for the work he did that resulted in his demotion. Only in American government can you profit by malfeasance.
We paid for it. And so did you, America. You pay. There's your tax dollars, not so hard at work.
Quickly, Dan, the Attorney General should just look at the documents his agency and the FBI are giving to Judicial Watch. He can do all the prosecutions he needs to based over that. It's incredible. It's all there in the public domain already.
Well, I hope he does, because this was a major slap in the face that taxpayer dollars are financing this kind of malfeasance. It's really grotesque.
I got to get that job.
Right? Not bad, right? It's not exactly chump change either. They got a lot of money.
That little chat got a lot of reaction from a lot of viewers. One that I really like concerning Donna Brazile and I talking about whether the president is a duly elected leader of this country, saying, Cavuto, you like the sound of your own voice, but face it, Donald Trump is not the duly elected president of the United States. And the back and forth goes. Let's get reaction from GOP strategist Noel Nickbour. We got Catalina magazine publisher Kathy Aru, and last but not least, Kat Timpf. You know, on the weekend, a lot of you, always kind of out with the Cavuto Live show on Saturday. And how many times have we had, and I think in your case, Scott, a lot of times I'll ask Democrats directly, do you think Donald Trump is the duly elected, legitimate president of the United States? And with the exception, I think, of Eric Swalwell, who said, no, not really, I think. They bounce around it. What do you make of that?
I think that whenever you're going through something tough, it's always easier to blame somebody else. I think that people do that all the time in all areas of life, and I think we certainly saw Hillary Clinton do that and the Democrats do that. But there are so many other reasons that you could, if you looked at yourself, why you would have lost an election. Hillary was a terrible candidate, for example. People wanted to shake things up, for example. You can explain it so many ways that I feel like blaming Russia is a cop-out. People use cop-outs all the time, so I'm not completely shocked by this, but it's a cop-out.
The line was that Russia is the reason Hillary Clinton isn't president. Kathy, do you think that's true?
Russia interfered with our elections. That was in the Mueller
report.
No doubt.
Did it change the outcome?
We'll never know. I don't know. 3 million more people voted for Hillary Clinton. That's a fact. We have the Electoral College. Donald Trump, President Trump, was not for the Electoral College. I think he was saying
that's not my question. No matter how you feel, no matter how you feel about the president, God knows many of his fans are not fans of mine.
Our system elected him, and
the Electoral College. Did the Russians affect the Electoral College? Yes or no?
The Electoral College.
See? This is me like blaming my weight on a thyroid issue. Stop it.
Our election.
No, what do you think?
I think we have two different Americas. I think that we have, America that believes that the election was stolen, and I think that you have
and never the twosome. Right?
No, and I think you have an America that believes for once that their needs have been heard, meaning the working class men and women, a lot of the union voters. So I think that you have these two divisions, and they don't ever seem to be coming together. And I think that the narrative coming from the people that feel like the election was stolen are never going to get in and accept Trump.
I just think that if you can't let go of this and you're going to question the legitimacy of this president for forever long, no matter how you feel about him, that's not helping anyone, is it?
No, I think it's hurting, actually. I think it's hurting because if you don't acknowledge your mistakes, you can never learn from them.
Oh, God. We're talking about President Trump acknowledging mistakes. A man who doesn't apologize.
You're going off topic. You're going off topic. No matter how you feel about him, you cannot just recognize him with his Electoral College vote win as the legitimate president of the United States.
He doesn't act presidential.
That's not what we're talking about. We're not asking what do you think about his hair. We're not asking what do you think about everything he said. We're talking about this very specific issue.
Well, it's a divided country, and the Russians interfered, and it would be so wonderful to know.
So without the Russians, you just said that Hillary Clinton won by 3 million votes in the popular vote.
Right, every vote counts. We're Americans,
fine. Okay. But our system is electoral vote.
Exactly.
PS, okay.
Yeah.
So if he won in the system that counted the electoral vote, we don't campaign differently if it was just based on popular vote. Can you at least acknowledge that the Russians didn't affect that electoral vote, or do you think they did?
Yep, it was proven. I mean, it was proven that
maybe she was a lousy campaigner. Maybe she should have gone to
3 million more people liked her, though, so her campaigning wasn't that
bad. Answer that question. Maybe she should have gone to Pennsylvania more. Should have gone to some of these other crucial battleground states more, and she did not.
At the end of the day, more people wanted her to be president than the
No. The system is the electoral vote.
That's America. Everyone believes that their vote counts.
So if it flipped around, all right, Donald Trump loses the electoral vote, but wins the popular vote. And let's say he wins it by 3 million. Would you say, way to go?
Yes, because
you would not.
I absolutely would. I would too. And
all right,
Noel. I stand by that.
Oh my gosh. I mean, you've got to look at how desperate Hillary was anyway. Bernie Sanders. Look what the Democratic Party did within Bernie Sanders to disqualify him.
Well, you're going off topic. But I'm saying, see, fair and balanced, off topic. What I'm just saying is that it's 2+ years after this. People still pointing the fingers at this guy. If not for the Russians, he wouldn't be president. If not for the Russians, he would never gotten there. And he won fair and square. But I find it very hard, and you're
He won't stop it either, though. He keeps talking about the darn election and reminding all of us.
You're talking about you can't let go. He won it. Maybe it beat him this time in 2020.
Maybe he knows he stole it, and that's why he keeps bringing it up.
Yeah, I mean, I won spelling bee in the third grade, and I still bring that up. So, sometimes wins mean a lot.
Yeah, well, that's actually.
I did win that spelling bee.
Yeah.
I did not win mine.
No, you did, girl.
I think you all have issues that need addressing. But seriously, guys, thank you very, very much. But I think we just got to move on here, folks. I mean, the more we go back in the past, say, it's time to move on.